Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about whether or not now's the right time to get an electric mountain bike. First of all, let me just say I prepared this video not to try to convince people who don't want an electric mountain bike or who don't like electric mountain bikes to get an electric mountain bike. Not the purpose of this video at all. I'm talking to people who are sort of on the fence. They like electric mountain bikes. They've ridden them maybe, rented them. Ridden their friends' electric mountain bikes, but they're on the fence. They're mainly on the fence, I think. Primary reason people are saying they are not getting an electric mountain bike now is because they're waiting for improvements in the technology, or they're waiting for the next generation of the bike. And in my opinion, that's a mistake. If you're interested in and you like electric mountain bikes, you should go ahead and get one. And you should get one as soon as you can, and go ahead and get into the electric mountain bike game. Now, that's the purpose of this video, to really explain in a little bit more detail why I believe that's the case. First of all, I'd just like to briefly state and talk about the current state of affairs in electric mountain bikes. Basically right now, and this is in the winter of 2023, Shimano has their EP801. That motor's on many different bikes. It's certainly the Santa Cruz bikes have the Shimano motors. I think the Canyon bikes have those motors. Many other bikes have those motors. A lot of brands have the Shimano motors. The Bosch Gen 4, Bosch has had several generations of their motor. I think they're in the Gen 4 now. Those motors are on many bikes also. You mainly see the Trek Rail, which has that motor, also the Orbea bikes. I think the older Orbeas may have had the Shimano, but I think the Orbea bikes now run the Bosch Gen 4. Many others have the Bosch motors. The Bros motor, I've only really seen that on the Specialized bikes. That's up to a Specialized version 2.2 of the Bros motor. So the Specialized Levo has the Bros motor. Yamaha has a motor that's on a Yamaha bike, and the high bikes, I think it's the PWX3. Rocky Mountain has their own proprietary motor. Bafang has many different motors, but if you're talking about in the same type of motor as the EP801 or the Gen 4 Bosch motor, it would be the Bafang 510 or the Bafang 560. Also, there are many electric mountain bikes now that are sort of the light version. They have smaller batteries, or motors that put out less torque. These bikes are designed for people who want more of the traditional mountain bike feel. So you have, those are out there fairly prevalent. For the bigger bikes, though, the full, if you call them, I guess you call them the full version electric mountain bike. Most of those bikes now have 625 or 700 watt-hour batteries. I think a few bikes are still being sold with 500 watt-hour batteries, but really now the state, or most people, are in the 625 or 700. In terms of drivetrain, mainly 12-speed, either the Shimano or the SRAM. Higher-end bikes have electric drivetrains. Most of the mid to lower end bikes have manual drivetrains. Seems like they all come with 34-tooth front chainring, 10x50 rear cassette. So that's sort of the lay of the land, what you've got, in terms of the bikes. But getting back to the question of whether now's the right time to invest in all that technology, or whether you should wait until they come out with the better technology. In my opinion, you should go ahead and get one as soon as you can. And basically, I have 3 or 4 reasons why I believe that's the case. First of all, if you really want to understand what it means to own an electric mountain bike, you got to own one. I mean, you can read all you want in the magazines or hear all the discussions of the technology, but until you own one of these things, you just really won't understand what the differences are and what the idiosyncrasies are. And they are different than a regular mountain bike. I mean, first of all, they are a lot heavier, and that puts a lot of strain on that bike and requires different setups and components, and different geometries mean a lot different feels and stuff on the bike just because of the weight. But to understand how it all comes together and what it means to have a motor on the bike, I mean, you really have to have one, and you really got to ride it. I mean, you can't just own it and casually ride it. I mean, you got to get out there and put, 500 or 600 miles on it before you really understand some of the idiosyncrasies. So I think it's important to own one just so you've got your foot in the door in terms of what the technology feels like and what it works. Because if you don't understand that, it's going to be very hard to jump in at some point, and it can be very costly. I mean, if you're waiting to buy your dream bike and you've never owned an electric mountain bike, to go from a regular pedal bike to a $12,000 or $13,000 bike, in my opinion, is a big risk. So anyway, that's the first reason. I think you really need to get your foot in the door to understand it. Second of all, right now, and this is the winter of 2023, there's some great deals out there on both new and used bikes. I mean, when I go through Pink Bike and look at some of the electric mountain bikes that are for sale, there's just some great bargains out there, no question about it. And even some of the newer bikes. I mean, a low-end or introductory level, Trek Rail or Specialized Levo or one of the other bikes, I mean, can be had for relatively or historically low prices, in my opinion, and certainly much lower than you can get, some, higher end regular bikes. So now's a great time in terms of the pricing. Seems like there's not a lot to lose here. You could buy one of these bikes and ride it for a while, and if you really didn't like it or you really want to get out of it, it seems like, your potential loss on the bike is relatively small. The other thing, and the third thing is the technology changes. Even though the marketing departments of these various bike manufacturers do a great job hyping the new technology, the reality is that these technology changes are very incremental. I'm riding on some of my bikes with Shimano E8000 motors, which are the motor that Shimano came out with in 2017 or 18, and I feel like I'm right in the game in riding with people. I mean, I'm not riding and feeling like it's just impossible to keep up, or I can't participate or have fun with people. I mean, it seems like I'm right in the thick of the action, and the bike performs well. I mean, I'm not saying that it's on the same par with top of the line Specialized Levo. But I can certainly ride with them and keep up with them, and they're not leaving me or anything. So the technology in my opinion may be more hyped than it really is. And the fourth reason I think you should go ahead and buy a bike is that no question about it, when you get an electric mountain bike, you're going to ride further and ride longer and ride more. And in my experience, the more you ride, the better you get, and the better you get, the more fun you have. It seems like to me. So, if you have an electric mountain bike, you're going to ride it. You're going to ride further. You're going to have more seat time, and it's just going to make you a better rider. So the longer you put that off, the more slowly you're going to progress. And sort of the fifth thing is when you go to places where people want to ride and they want to make accommodations for big climbs or stuff like that. I mean, you're talking about arranging shuttles or climbing up and sweating it out and really grinding it through, and that's a pretty big toll, big commitment. With the electric bike, a lot of that stuff goes away, and it just makes riding a lot more pleasurable. I mean, you can get to the fun stuff a lot more quickly, and you can even have more fun going uphill. So, to delay all of that just for the potential promise of some great technology advancement that, by the way, hasn't really happened in the last 5 or 6 years. It just seems like to me that's not the way to go, and that's not the way I have gone. So maybe I'm biased in terms of my recommendation to go ahead and get one. Also, if you're a little bit on the fence, I would and you want to follow this kind of recommendation to get one. You don't have to go out and buy top of the line bike. As a matter of fact, my recommendation, if you're a little bit unsure, go in and, you know, buy a nice used bike, or go in and buy, you know, an intro level bike from one of the big bike companies, and you know, just live with it for a while. I mean, those bikes are put together to perform and do a good job. You know, maybe not everything you want, but certainly, you know, they'll get the job done. And so my recommendation is go ahead and get you a bike. Don't wait for the technology. But anyway, I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with me. That's just my opinion and what I've sort of the way I've pursued this, and I think it's working really well, and I really enjoy it. And you know, like I said, just my opinion. But I hope I've given you something to think about and consider here, and I will see you guys at the top.